Edgar Degas once said, "Art is not what you see, but what you make others see." Welcome to Matt Gearing and Alex Chang's Art Analysis and Review. Today, I want to start off by taking a look at a certain piece by Caravaggio called David with the Head of Goliath. Before we take a look at this art piece, who exactly is Caravaggio? Well, his full name is Michelangelo Merisi de Caravaggio, and he lived from 1571 to 1610. He was born in the town Caravaggio near Milan. Around 1600, he became very popular and was probably the most sought-after painter in Rome. He received very prestigious commissions, including the Entombment of Christ, which can be found in the Vatican Museum, and also a piece called The Death of the Virgin, which can be found in the Louvre. In this piece, we see a young David and Goliath. David is holding Goliath's head, as well as holding a sword. This is in reference to 1 Samuel 17, which is a story all about how the young David uses his sling and a stone and ends up killing a 9-foot giant named Goliath. After he kills Goliath, he uses Goliath's own sword to remove Goliath's head from his body. Eleanor Ty, in the International Fiction Review Journal, talks about how as we take a look at this picture, we see a young David and an older Goliath. Eleanor suggests that the youthful Caravaggio might be painting himself as David, and he might also be depicting himself as the older Goliath. So in this picture, we would see a young Caravaggio holding the head of an older Caravaggio, and this is really talking about looking at one's own mortality. Harvey Racklin, in his book Scandals, Vandals, and Da Vinci's, A Gallery of Remarkable Art Tales, talks about how Caravaggio might have used this piece to talk about his own troubled soul and his own share of problems, which, as you can see in this picture, may result with a symbolic resolution, as we see with David holding the head of Goliath. Caravaggio does a wonderful job capturing the drama of this piece from the story of David and Goliath. Instead of just having Goliath's head resting on a ledge or on the ground, we see that the head is dangling from David's hand. As we take a look further, we see that Caravaggio does a beautiful example of emphatic chiaroscuro and really uses amplified perspective as we see Goliath's head almost coming right out at us. Caravaggio uses tenebrism well here, and we really see the stark contrast between the lights and the darks in this piece, highlighting Goliath's head as well as the triumphant David.
The next painting that we'll be analyzing is entitled Old Woman Frying Eggs. This painting was done by Diego Velázquez. The medium that was used was oil on canvas. Velázquez completed the painting in 1618. Velázquez completed this famous piece when he was just a teenager, and it clearly demonstrates his flair for painting people and everyday objects directly from life. This painting shows an elderly woman cooking eggs over a charcoal fire. There is immense detail in this image, from the worn features of the subject's face to the strip of silver from the glowing coals warming the eggs. The honeydew melon with a cord wrapped around it is an interesting feature as it resembles an imperial orb. Furthermore, the inclusion of the young boy contrasts youth and age and thus conveys the transience of life. The viewer will marvel at the richness and variety of shape, textures, and surfaces brought to life by Velázquez's confident brush. The figures and household objects seem to emerge from the darkness. The light, from an indeterminate source, draws the observer's eye diagonally across the canvas from the boy's rumpled collar in the upper left corner to the partially glazed picture in the lower right. This piece also demonstrates Velázquez's fascination with contrasting materials and textures and how the play of light and shadow on opaque and reflective surfaces result in brilliant passages of painting, especially the eggs cooking in the hot oil and the very domestic utensils as seen on the table. Velázquez does a fantastic job of using emphatic chiaroscuro to give a sense of realism to the painting. As stated by Antonio Ortiz in the book Velázquez, Velázquez reveals in all his works an exceptional love for the world and its beings, carrying the aerial of perspective to extremes never before achieved. He had a singular aptitude for bringing reality to life on the canvas. One of Velázquez's defining features is to paint in the Bodegon genre. Spanish Bodegon is defined as a type of painting depicting normal, humble people in everyday situations and the company of food, typically in a restaurant or tavern. Today, this piece can be found in the National Gallery of Scotland in Edinburgh. The nature of this piece makes it very possible for both art historians as well as culinary historians. This painting was and has been accessible to a large amount of people throughout the world.